Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Getting real. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, you're gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Global Happiness Specialist, Rebecca L. Norrington, Inner Peace Practitioner, Oracle, but most importantly, a student just like you. I'm practicing. I'm in school every day, 24/7. There's no breaks, no vacations, no time off. Someone asked me last week, which reminds me I'm going to have to post that. So I was interviewed on Bite Me Radio and biteradio.me. And one of the questions was this about happiness and how that evolution, even the search for it, how has that evolved? I'm talking about 45 years of this study and research and seeking and searching and looking and finding. And the good news is when I talk about happiness, or when I say, do you want to experience more happiness, it's really coming from an internal vibration, an internal energy, something that does not just shift when circumstances change. This is a rooted energy, and it's rooted in contentment, and it's rooted in the energy of peace, and it's rooted in the energy of feeling satisfied, being satisfied, having the energy of satisfaction in the present moment, in all present moments. And that's the goal, is how do I experience more contentment along the journey, period. It doesn't matter what happens. Life is going to throw at me everything, plus more. And so the practice is ongoing, and it has evolved. And today I want to share with you the topic of the human identity crisis, because that is really at the core of all of this suffering, besides the programming. By the way, if you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. And if you want to speak with me on Zoom or Vibe, not Zoom, it's Noom Vibe, just ask to join the stage. I promise to look down from time to time. And also, I am live on YouTube. What? Hello? Let me just get back to the quick introduction. This search for happiness, and again, when I say happiness, I'm talking about a energy of contentment. And everyone knows how that feels. Everyone knows how it feels to settle in a moment. Your shoulders are down. You feel connected. You are experiencing the highest level of consciousness. And the question is, can I experience more of those? It's simple. That's simply it. How do I experience more of those moments? I mean, if I'm going to be here until I'm not, How do I experience more of those connected, and I'm just using words to explain. You know what I'm talking about when you feel so connected, even to a point, I know when I have these moments, even to the point of crying, of unexplained tears. I just say it's so much energy, so much power, so much truth, so much realization that it's not about what the world says this life is about. It's much more. Again, if you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. And before we get into today's topic, well, let me just do a little bit more housekeeping and introduction. Let me share with you my definition of happiness, which is the ability to maintain a personal vibration of peace regardless of what happens, regardless of what life throws, regardless of the news, regardless of what someone texts me, regardless that people are coming in my life and people are leaving, regardless of all of it. How do I maintain, how do I sustain an energy of neutrality, neutral with a TT, neutrality? How do I maintain that? So whatever is thrown at me, whatever is on the path, I instantly, and I say instantly, perceive it as, okay, next moment. I've got my hand up to testify that this is not an easy practice. In fact, the practice to let go, eliminate all of the programmed behaviors has been, will be, is a lifelong commitment. It has been a lifelong commitment. And the latest book that it just came out less than a month ago. I'm holding it up right now. You can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, what else? Lulu. There's a few outlets online shops. So I'm holding it up. Isn't that a cool cover? Programmed for Unhappiness. Programmed for Unhappiness. Exposing the Untold Truth. And in this book, I list 56 program behaviors that have been proven, are proven to subtract from that energy of contentment. Now, if that energy of contentment, if wanting to feel balanced and wanting to feel peaceful is not your thing, I get it. I didn't used to get it, but to my surprise, everyone doesn't value this contentment. But I'll tell you who does. This was a study done by a hospice nurse. Her name is Bronnie Ware, spelled Bronnie Ware, and I always bring it up. I always bring it up in every show, at least most shows, 98% of the time. And so she asked her patients, she's a hospice nurse, and she asked her patients, of course these people had days, weeks, months to live, and she asked them what were their biggest regrets. 5 of their biggest regrets. Not one regret had anything to do with I wish I was more successful. Whatever that means anyway. What does that mean, success? Success. Well, if you ask me, success is the ability to live in the present moment. Success is the ability to know who I am really as opposed to this identifying with thoughts and stories and identifying with my personhood, identifying with my ego, identifying with my mind. No, I'm identifying with, at this late stage of the game, it's not a late stage, but at the stage of the game, I'm identifying with my higher self now. And the practice is to identify with that higher self every single moment. Not just sometimes, not just when it's convenient, not just when it feels good, but identifying with my higher self all the time. All the time. No exceptions. And that is the practice. That is the intention. That is the goal. So let me get back to the 5 most common regrets of the dying. Number 1, I wish I would have pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. Ooh, that's a tough one. Living under obligation to someone else, especially if they're an adult, and I'm not talking about the people that need assistance, and I'm not talking about children. I'm talking about normal adults and a feeling of being obligated. And in fact, I was talking to a physical therapist a couple of days ago, and she was telling me that her father is going to have knee replacement surgery. And so he made a statement that he's going to wait until she has vacation time before he has the surgery. Just saying that he expects his daughter, who is a physical therapist, to come out and take care of him while he is recovering, or to help him recover from his knee surgery. Now, before I get all the emails and all the letters and all the comments, there is, and this is a program behavior, obligation, the program of obligation, and obligating people that you say that you love, that you claim that you love, obligating them. Let me back up a little bit. You can feel the difference between feeling inspired to assist someone, help someone, be there for someone. There's a big difference in feeling inspired and feeling obligated. It's a totally different type of vibration, obligation. And you can feel the difference. So all of you parents out there that are expecting, wanting, obligating your children to be there, I'm not making a judgment. I'm just saying that I would rather have somebody that's inspired to be with me than obligated, because I can feel the difference. I probably got on a track way out off the rails. Let me try to get back on the rails. The 5 most common regrets of the dying. The first one is, I wish I would have pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. Number 2, I wish I didn't work so hard. Shout out to all you workaholics out there. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And then the last one is, I wish I would have let myself be happier. Many of her patients didn't realize until the end of their lives that happiness is a choice. Now, I keep hearing that. I hear that all the time, that we have a choice. Happiness is a choice. Well, if you are programmed to behave in a certain way, and you're telling me that you can choose another program, you can choose to behave a different way, and I'll say only if you're conscious, only if you practice living, being, remaining, staying conscious. But if you're not conscious and you're just reacting to life based on a program, which 98% of the population did. I say 98? Yes, I did. 98% of the population is is attached to programs. And once you understand and once you get that the programming is so deep, for instance, the program that noticing what someone else is doing, the program of sharing bad news, the program of having expectations, attachments to an outcome, living in the past, living in the future, lack of acceptance, having disdain, hate, or dislike for another person, having a sense of urgency that something needs to change now. This needs to change now, not yesterday. That kind of energy. How content or peaceful do you think you can feel with that? This has to be done now. Believing that you can self-sabotage or block your abundance. You know, that word abundance. What does that mean? Money? What's my abundance? That's just another buzzword, another program word, to another carrot to pique someone's interest. Yes, I want abundance. Anyway, where was I? Oh, okay. I was talking about some of the program behaviors. Having regrets, believing that life is unjust and unfair, worrying, fear, a lack of personal growth, being critical of yourself or others, judging yourself or others, blaming anyone else or your circumstances for how you're feeling. So it all comes down to are you programmed, and do you recognize your programs? And that's the beginning of the work. And let me get back to today's topic. Well, before I do that, let me just say happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. My father, Ralph Norrington, was, of course, programmed, but was a man that, it was interesting, you know, from the old school, and not a lot of physical attention, not a lot of I love yous, not a lot of gentleness, no, a lot of not a lot of criticism, a lot of you can be better, a lot of suggestions, a lot of judgment, a lot of wanting to make me in his image. But the truth is, mother, father, siblings, boyfriends, girlfriends, friends, everyone comes into our life for a reason. Everyone comes into our presence for a reason. There is nothing without purpose. Now, I'm not going to try to say or even pretend that I understand or I get the purpose. That light is off. Or I even get the purpose. Oh, thank you. Your screen time is down 11%. I think that's a good thing, isn't it? Anyway, I digress. Oh, Father's Day. I remember there was a time in my life where all I could do with my father was argue back and forth. But the truth is, it was one program arguing with another program. that was never going to win. One program arguing with another program. One program versus another program. And what finally happened with my father and his health and his mental health, the last few years of his life, he went to an adult daycare center. He was accepted into a facility for people with memory loss. And I have to say that, and I've shared it before, that it was one of the most loving, memorable times that I can remember with my father. I mean, sitting outside, he was in a wheelchair then. He wasn't able to walk. Full diaper, sitting in a wheelchair, not being able to stand up or walk, but was able to enjoy the moment. I remember sitting outside just watching cars go by. He loved cars. And just watching the cars go by and being engaged. And one of the programs is that this life is supposed to feel a certain way, is supposed to have enough bells and whistles and activities and accomplishments and things to do. And it's supposed to have so much activity that, number one, I'll never be bored. Number two, that it won't give me, let me just speak for myself, it's not going to give me time to reflect. See, one of the biggest homework assignments, which is always talking about for myself, is, I'm holding it up right now, mirror work. What can I do? What can I practice more of? And which brings me to today's topic. But before I do, let me just say on my Father's Day, I have in front of me, I'll show you on the YouTube channel, because the show is live on my YouTube channel, Rebecca Norrington. And if you want to speak with me live, the number is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. That's on Blog Talk Radio. And I'm showing this on the YouTube channel. It's a check made out to me, and I'm only bringing this up because it is Father's Day, made out to me, and the year was 1991. Don't tell me you weren't born in 1991. 1991, and it was a check from my father for $5,000, and I still have it. I never cashed it. Did I ever cash it? No, I think I did cash it. I don't even remember. But I do remember, look at that. The name of the street is incorrectly spelled. Anyway, I do remember asking him for help. And my father was one, like I said before, not to throw out I love you, none of that at all. But if I needed something financially, I have to say that he was always, what do you need? Of course, I had to come up with a lot of reasons and rationale, but he was there in that moment for me, and more than one moment. The point is, whoever your parents are, this is what I believe, my perspective. Whoever your parents are, your siblings are, there's a reason for these people. There's a reason for every single person in my life. And to get to receive the gift that each individual person is there to give me, and it's a constant gift. It's always giving. This growing, expanding your consciousness is always, there's never time out. There's never a break. There's never a moment where you say, well, okay, I mastered that. I just found out a week ago I still had some expectations. Me, happiness specialist. So it comes down to, why am I here? What is my purpose? What is my purpose for being here? Well, I'll share with you what I believe. And that is to transcend, to learn, to grow, to expand. And when I say transcend, it is the universe having an experience through me. This is the way the universe gets off. Yeah, let's because from what I've heard, this other dimension, I mean, it's just nothing but ease, love, peace, chill. If you listen to the interview I had a couple of weeks ago with John Davis, his near-death experience, he said it's a place. You can study what you want. You can go hiking, whatever you can do here. And he was just talking about the beauty of the afterlife. And he says nobody wants to come to Earth. This place, this is hell. So why am I here? I'm here to transcend. So let me get back to what I've discovered, and I'm just sharing my personal journey. Again, if you want to speak with me live, the number is 646-564-9619. Happy Father's Day. Here we go. When I say identity crisis, the human identity crisis, I want you to think about what, who do you identify with? In other words, who are you? Are you more than your name? Are you more than your gender? Are you more than your culture, than the country that you live in? Are you more than your race? Are you more than your job? Are you more than your titles? When I identify with the thoughts and the stories and this Rebecca L. Norrington, who's very, I've discovered, she's okay, but she's very, very limited. She's very limited. Scratch that. She is limited. She's limited in comprehending, but she's also very set in her ways. Now, when I say that, she's got this, when I say she, and I do talk about her in the third person. I'm done identifying with this Rebecca L. Norrington. I just say it, I've got to sign some documents, I've got to sign contracts, I've got to put author of the book. So I get the identifying with the name for business. However, in my personal life, what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, and I've talked about it, is really being mindful and conscious of all of the feelings that I have, and that's just from being human, feeling up and cheery in the morning, feeling a little tired in the afternoon, feeling a little anxious, feeling a little happy, feeling a little angry, feeling overwhelmed. All of these feelings that all humans have. I like to go back to that movie with Tom Hanks, Castaway. That man went through so many different types of feelings. And getting back to this identity crisis, I am going to feel all different types of ways. That is just the nature of this humanness, is to feel all different types. But I will be damned. I will not scratch that. I'm letting go, and I'm practicing not labeling my feelings. Not identifying with my feeling, I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling consciously depressed, or I'm feeling annoyed, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling regretful. All of those feelings, because honestly, and I've said this before, what's the difference between feeling lonely and feeling sad? It's the same low vibrational energy. It's the same low vibration. I'm going to say low vibration. It's the same. So it's about being mindful of the vibration, your personal vibration. So let's go back to all these feelings that I get all the time. I love it when the universe deems it's time for you to be angry. Happiness specialist, angry. It's time for you to be angry. And so when that happens, when I do feel those moments of, somebody asked me a stupid question, if somebody, always putting it outside of me, the practice now is to feel everything I'm feeling, accept it all, without resistance, without wanting it to change, without wanting it to be different, without wanting the circumstances to change. That's another one. If the circumstances change, then I'll feel better. If the circumstances change, then I'll feel different. I'm here to tell you that you can feel different. You can shift your energy without any circumstances changing. The only thing you can do, especially if you're saying you have choices, is to come up with a different perspective. Come up with a perspective that will ensure a different vibration. It will ensure a higher vibration, a higher conscious level. A higher conscious level could be acceptance. Acceptance is higher than resistance. You can feel the difference in your body. So let me get back to this identity crisis. When I identify and I say I'm feeling angry or I'm feeling sad, and I use the word because, and then I attach a story to it, because that's what the world does. I'm feeling this way because I'm here to tell you, take it another step further. You're feeling any kind of way. You're feeling a certain way because it's time. The identifying with the mind, identifying with the ego, identifying with the thoughts, identifying with a story, that who's authoring the stories in the first place. And I know I've talked about this before, but this keeps coming up, this identity crisis. It keeps coming up because people keep saying, it's my, and I, and when I, and then I, and who are you talking about when you say I? Is it the ego I, or is it your higher self? And when I say identity crisis, it is worldwide. How many of you identify with your race, with your name, with your gender, with your titles? And I'll share the story. I'll share the story that I shared on the show yesterday. My son and I do a show every Saturday morning. It's called Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense. Plus more. Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense. Pause. Plus more. I shared this yesterday, and I want to share it again, just to prove, just to really give more evidence of this holding on to an identity. I had my, I'll drink a little bit of water. Hold on, audience. Again, if you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. And if you're listening on Vibe, Noom Vibe, just asked to join the stage. I'm looking down, not like last week. I wasn't looking down for a while, but I'm looking down. Hold on just a second. And that's how you're supposed to drink water, by the way. Every time you gulp water, gulp 1, gulp 2, 3 gulps. Let me see. You smack your lips. I was telling some of my exercise students that a few weeks ago, and this one lady said, "Oh, I can't smack my lips. I was brought in a home where if you smacked your lips, we got in trouble." You see how the programming just runs deep? She's in her 70s, and she can't smack her lips because of what her mother said. I digress. Let me get back to this identity crisis. So 3 weeks ago, in fact, Wednesday, it'll be 4 weeks ago. So three and a half weeks ago, I had my right hip replaced. And it's called anterior hip replacement. I'm coming back slowly but surely. I had my left hip done a couple of years ago, and I just went through that. I was sailing. No issues. I was walking the same day. And, of course, guess what? She, Rebecca, had expectations that the second surgery with the other hip was just going to be just as easy and just as easy recovery and just as hardly any pain. Well, boy, did she get a lesson in letting go of expectations. Number one, I was in, I don't want to be dramatic, excruciating pain for probably 2 weeks. And the OxyContin didn't work. But what worked was the extra strength Bayer aspirins. I think one was 320 milligrams. Yeah. Anyway, those worked. Doubled up on those. But a lot of pain. And not to make any excuses, but there is something, and the universe wanted me to go through it. There is something about being in physical pain that can take the programming to another level. And even through the 2 weeks, I kept asking the universe, what is the purpose of this? And here we go. Listen to this response. Thanks a lot, universe. Listen to this response. To transcend the pain. To transcend physical pain. Now you tell me. That's what my father would always say. Now you tell me. Transcend physical pain. Because number one, I know that every experience that I'm going through, whether it's comfortable, whether it's uncomfortable, whether it's easy, whether it's challenging, whether I feel like I'm hitting brick walls, I know that every single experience that I'm having on this journey, there is a reason, there is a purpose to it. There is a reason behind all of it. And there was a reason for me being in pain for 2 weeks. Thanks a lot. But there was a reason. And the thoughts and the stories that kept coming, it was endless. And so to sit and witness all of that. Now, transcending the pain, here we go. That was introduced. Can you do that, Rebecca? What? Transcend pain? Not to say that I don't know people that can do it, but it wasn't happening on this side of town. But what did happen is, and again, I've shared that I've listened to Moji now. You can find his videos online. Hope you're having Moji, M-O-O-J-I. I mean, this man is phenomenal as far as taking you to another level of understanding. And so one of the things that he talks about is identifying with identifying with the awareness, identifying with your higher self, identifying with your identify with the emptiness, identify with what cannot be explained or cannot be described. Can you stay there? Because in that place, hold on a second. In that place, where did I put my notes here? In that place where there's no judgment, there's no depression, there's no form, there's no tomorrow, there's no past, there's no future. In that place of awareness, the place where that Can I practice being there, living there, as opposed to being human, staying in the human, and feeling pain, physical pain? Can I practice? And I did. I tried. I practiced. Scratch the tried. I practiced. How do I go from this place of human pain to another place where I won't feel pain? And because of the NDEs, the near-death experiences that I've looked at, that I've watched, and including the gentleman that I had on, John Davis, had him on a couple of weeks ago. One of the things that they all say is in this state, or in that state, or in that place, in that dimension, there is no pain. None. Emotional pain, physical pain, there is no pain. So my question became, can I get to that state on this planet, right here in this dimension? Can I get there? Can I practice? Well, I was given 2 weeks to practice. And I have to say that there were moments, but they weren't long moments. But I definitely believe and think that, yes, the universe wanted me to practice separating myself, separating the self. When I say the self, separating the ego, separating the mind, separating from the person to a place where I don't feel the pain, physical pain. The place of awareness where there is nothing personal. There is no sickness. There are no judgments. It's just and it's not even a place. Is it a space? Emoji says, stay empty, stay empty, stay empty, stay empty. So part of this show today, and it really has been a journey of being mindful of who are you identifying with. And if you're identifying with this ego, this mind, know that the ego and the mind are they're both the same. The person, high maintenance. They require a lot of maintenance, a lot of attending, a lot of tending to, a lot of focus, a lot of distraction. A lot of distraction. And the practice has been of late. Even if it's just for a minute or 30 seconds or 10 seconds, is to say, I am presence. I am awareness. I am period. And not to try to describe that. Not to try to describe it, but to have it, how do I say this? To have it, I'm envisioning it engulfing me. I'm envisioning just being held by consciousness, surrounded by awareness, identifying with that, and letting go of this human identity. I mean, can you imagine if we were all 1 year, 2 years, 3 years old, and that we were taught, you know what? There's going to be two entities. There's going to be the ego, the mind that wants you to identify with it. It's always fleeting. It's always got a problem. It's insatiable. It needs more. It's never satisfied. There's always a challenge. There's always a problem. It always finds something wrong. It always wants more. In fact, one of the things that I was going to tell that story about the physical therapy. One of the things that my ego requires is there's always resistance. There's always something that needs to change. But let me get back to the story. Oh my God, I'm so glad I remembered. And if you want to speak with me live, you can call area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. And here we go. So I had my right hip replaced. It'll be 4 weeks on Wednesday. So listen to this. I just started physical therapy last week. The first day, I went in with my identity attached. My identity. What's my identity? Well, this Rebecca Norrington that's been a fitness instructor for 45 years, that knows a little bit about the fitness business, that knows a little bit about exercising, that knows a little bit about form, just a little, not a lot. But I consider myself a professional athlete. Yes, I do. And the first day, I can't even believe, I'm just sharing. The first day, the Rebecca Norrington just sized everybody up. So there were physical therapists, there were therapist assistants, and then there were people that helped with the equipment. There's different levels different levels of expertise at the physical therapy place. Okay. And here I am looking at one woman doing these bands. So she was walking, the bands are around her legs, the bottom of her legs, between her knees and her ankles. And so she's stretching out one leg, and then she brings the other leg in, stretch it out, bring the other leg in. If you've done band work, you know what I'm talking about, B-A-N-D, band. And so I'm watching her do her band work, and the assistant is looking at her. She's bending over. She's not standing up straight. It's really bad form, and I got a problem. Well, scratch that. Rebecca has a problem. Rebecca, with her identity of the fitness instructor, aerobic instructor, boot camp instructor, water instructor, all of that, had a problem with this woman. Number one, wrong, bad form. Number two, wasn't breathing properly. I didn't hear anybody give any instructions about when to breathe in and when to breathe out, when to inhale and when to exhale. And when you're exercising, you're supposed to breathe in and breathe out on a certain time when you're extending the energy. Breathe out. Anyway, I'm looking at all of this and I'm just judging. I've got all these stories in my head, and it was not a day of smiles for me. In fact, I left feeling that, wow, there's so many people that are not getting instructed correctly. The second day I went, I realized that something was wrong. It had nothing to do with anybody else but me. I said, look at that. You walked into the physical therapy facility, and you're already bothered. You're already annoyed because you're expecting to see people not doing the exercises correctly, and you're expecting to see bad form, and you're expecting to not hear any direction as far as how to breathe or how to stand, all of it. Now I'm just being more aware. So here this is going to explain the whole identity crisis. Now I'm just being more aware on the second day. Wow, look at you're irritated for all of these reasons, and it's still going through my head that it's not even the reasons, the stories that Rebecca is coming up with. See, Rebecca has a legitimate reason for all of the ways she's feeling, and it makes sense. It's very convincing, and it dots the I's and crosses all the T's. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, of course. You're ex, and you're not ex, but you teach fitness, and of course you would notice that. It's like maybe a dentist or a hygienist going into another office, and she's noticing that the hygienist doesn't know this new hygienist doesn't know what they're doing. Anyway, it's that, and I'm just observing, and I already know it's not these people. It's not the stories I'm telling myself, the reason why I'm irritated. It's none of that. The third day, which was Friday, I go back to physical therapy. And I said, you are going to leave your identity in the car. You're going to leave your Rebecca L. Norrington. Rebecca L. It has to be L. Rebecca L. Norrington identity in the car. This was Friday. I must say that I walked in a lot lighter. Everything that happened the last couple of days was still happening. There were people still doing exercises, in my opinion, without the correct form. Still people not breathing correctly. Still people not paying attention. And in fact, I even sized up the physical therapist, not the therapist, but the assistants, the ones that are just there to get a check, and the ones that really care. You know, you can tell if somebody really cares and they don't. And don't take that personally, though, because that's another program. Taking anything personally is another program. So everybody's the same. The only thing that's different is I left my identity, Rebecca L. Norrington, the aerobic instructor, the fitness instructor, in the car. I left the identity in the car. So I had nothing to compare. I had nothing to squawk about. I had no reason to correct. I did say a couple of things to somebody who was next to me, and I said, breathe out, in a gentle way, breathe out, because they were holding their breath. That's one thing when you exercise, sometimes when you're lifting weights and you don't realize it, you hold your breath. And so I just said, breathe out, but in a nice, loving way, not in a, they didn't tell you they didn't give you the right instructions, not that way. So getting back to this identity crisis, and getting back to what can you do, my dear audience? What can you do if you even resonate, even if you resonate with any of this? Are you open to seeing that you have an identity that you identify with that has nothing, number one, that is not going to bring peace? Very rare. It's high maintenance. It's not going to bring peace, and it's going to produce practically nothing. Nothing. Nothing sustaining, nothing fulfilling for the soul. Are you willing to get the mirror out and ask yourself, who am I identifying with? Am I identifying with my higher self, or am I identifying with my ego, the mind, or the person? You know, Emoji says, which I love, he says, the person can never find enlightenment. If you are a person, you're not going to find enlightenment. And what is enlightenment anyway? It's just the truth of, this is my perspective, it's just the truth. And the truth is, you are consciousness having a human experience. Can we sit with that for a little bit? Hello. One of the things that Emojis has said, which I really like, he said, you will not experience real freedom until you stop identifying with your person. You will not experience real freedom until you stop identifying with your person. What is the purpose of this journey? What is the purpose of all of this? It's simple. Is it to achieve? Is it to leave a legacy? Is it to build? Is it to, what is it? What inspire the world, change the world, or is it just to transcend? Transcend this dimension. Transcending the identity. Transcending the human identity. One of the things that the ego and the human is always desiring, wanting something more. Always something more. Remember, this life, just like row your boat, this life is just a dream, and it's going to be over in a blink of an eye. So just remember who you are. Remember who you are. This is just a dream. What are your eyes for? Your eyes are here to see things other than your eyes. Isn't that interesting? Your eyes are here to see something other than your eyes. And then the perception, perceiving what this life is all about. Well, how about letting go of what the world says and staying on, getting on, living on that this is even more than what I could have even imagined. This is not just a man that this is going to be over quick. This is more than just this earthly experience. Any questions? Any comments? Anyone want to join the stage? Going once. Going twice. Anybody want to join the stage? All right. Well, that's the end of today's show. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality Radio is heard every Sunday and every Saturday at 9:15. It's a live show on YouTube. It's called Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense Plus More. It's a live show every Saturday morning at 9:15 Pacific Standard Time. And then Sunday, which is Reality Spirituality, which is me, every Sunday at 9 a.m. Follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington. My LinkedIn, Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. My YouTube channel is growing. Like and subscribe. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon. But the second book that just came out less than a month ago, it's called Programmed for Unhappiness. I'm holding it up. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Lulu, Programmed for Unhappiness. And in that book, I list 56 program behaviors. And what is the point of that? Each behavior, over a period of I don't know how many years, each behavior that I list is subtracting from your happiness. And again, when I say happiness, let me give you my definition. My definition is the ability, happiness is the ability to vibrate an energy of peace and contentment, regardless of what happens. Peace and contentment. That's it. That's number one for me. So Program for Unhappiness is out now, and until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension of the universe, your conscious energy, which is always evolving, always changing, always growing. Be kind to yourself. Be patient. Love is patient, and love is kind. Be your own best friend. Be kind to that person in the mirror. You are doing, just like me, the best that you can in every moment. And this is a moment. These are moments of growth. These are moments of understanding. These are moments of experiencing really what is the truth. And these people that are here, that you come across, that I come across, are here for a reason. They're here because they're here because I wanted them here. I wanted to experience all of it. There's no mistakes. There's no accidents. You could not have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. That's a quote by Abraham Hicks. And remember, happiness, the good news is happiness, like any other skill, is a practice skill. So if I can do it, if I can eliminate 55 to 56 program behaviors little by little, don't say that I have them all down, don't say that I have them all mastered, and then on top of that, recognize the programming, and then on top of that, identify with myself, the higher self, identify with the emptiness, identify with the nothingness, identify with what cannot be described, identify with the unfolding, the purpose, identify with the energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Identify with all of that. Identify with and let go of that identity of birthday, name, titles, none of that. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner, oracle, but most importantly, a student. Happiness is a practice skill, and I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace you're going to find. And the more you practice, the more you're going to experience contentment, inner peace, and happiness. What you practice is reflected. Theme song, theme song.
Yeah, oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we get real.